Hi, I'm attorney Gregory Dell, joined by attorney Cesar Gavidia, and we're going to talk about a Hartford disability insurance claim that Cesar recently successfully resolved for one of our clients. And Cesar, in these videos, I like to talk about the background of the case, the occupation, the medical conditions, the policy language, then get into what you were able to successfully do for your client, and then provide some tips along the way for claimants that are watching these particular videos and hoping to gather something that would either help them if they're on claim now or possibly get denied, to help them secure their benefits in the future. So let's start with the background of this particular claim.
Yeah, so this client was a senior IT business analyst. So she was in the tech field, a pretty complex and skilled occupation, although required her working at a desk and perhaps moving around, kind of more categorized as a sedentary light type of occupation, really. But nonetheless, one that required a high level of skill. And she became disabled actually relating to neuro-cognitive impairments. And with neuro-cognitive issues, they could be related to psychiatric or mental health issues, or they could be related to physical issues, brain injuries, or in this case, it was hydrocephalus, where there's like fluid collection in the brain. She had Parkinson's disease, and also this dementia related to kind of an early onset Alzheimer's disease that they were diagnosing her with. So this is a case where it was really distinguishable in terms of the neurocognitive issues from a psychiatric claim, from a mental nervous claim, where you'd be dealing with neurocognitive decline due to depression or anxiety or something like that.
And what types of doctors was your client treating with?
Well, she had a team of neurologists, neurological team. She also did have, as a byproduct of all this, depression and anxiety. I mean, who wouldn't have depression, the level of depression and anxiety from these things? And certainly from the complications going on in her brain. I mean, this is causing a certain level of problems relating to emotional issues too. So she was treated with neurologists. She was treated with psychiatrists and a therapist as well.
And so, what was the definition of disability, and did she ever get paid any benefits?
So, in her particular group disability policy, the first 2 years covered her for disability from her own occupation. So, her occupation as a senior IT business analyst working for this company. After 24 months, it changed to any gainful occupation. It was never really a major point of contention, this own occupation to any occupation shift. In fact, our client was approved for Social Security disability within the first year of her going out of work, which is not a very common thing to occur unless you've got some severe levels of impairment.
But did Hartford ever pay her at all?
They paid her initially. And they terminated her claim just prior to the 24-month mental nervous limitation, expiration, because they terminated it at first saying they didn't have sufficient proof, okay? Right before that 24-month own occupation transition and the 24-month mental nervous limitation expiration. She came to us, we appealed it successfully, we submitted what we felt was sufficient proof. They overturned it. Within a week of overturning the decision, we got a second denial letter, saying that she didn't qualify past the 24 months because they felt she was impaired due to a mental nervous limitation.
Oh, so it was, congratulations, you won.
A week later.
But we're only approving you for mental nervous because under mental nervous we only have to pay for 24 months, and we think that she's psychiatrically disabled, no physical limitations. So then what did they rely upon for that particular denial?
It really didn't describe in the denial letter what they relied upon. Once we reviewed the claim file that we requested, as soon as we received that denial letter or termination letter a week later, it was pretty evident they'd gone to a review by a neurologist in-house, peer review doctor. And once they got this opinion from this doctor, they said, oh, well, this doctor's saying that we hired, this doctor's saying that the impairments here appear to be, psychiatric related, not physically related to either the hydrocephalus or the Parkinson's disease or the dementia. So they used that as the basis for that second denial.
All right, so then you go, here we go again.
Here we go again.
So what did you do?
So we appealed it, and this time just attacking this neurologist's review. We used really, I mean, it's just the volume and the volume of the evidence in the records. We just attacked this report that he'd submitted, and it was actually sufficient to get that decision overturned on appeal. But once we did that, within 8 months, they denied it again.
Wait. So this is going to be your third appeal now?
Third appeal within basically almost 12-month
And now
span.
what was the problem?
So now they said they felt that she wasn't disabled from a sedentary occupation, that she had some permanent physical impairments, and they went back to another neurologist this time. Permanent physical impairments, you know, we got over that 24-month mental nervous limitation. We established that she had disability from physical disease and physical conditions. But now they're saying, after 8 months of paying her additional benefits, that they felt she could do a sedentary job because, again, this other doctor says she can do it.
Okay, so now what did you do?
So one of the points there with them was that, well, we had this additional neurologist review the records, and we provided a report, and we sent it to her doctor, and her doctor never responded to it. So on that basis, we're denying it, basically. You know, we've done this report. There's no rebuttal from her doctor. Had we known, you know, usually they would send it, but they went behind basically our backs and sent it directly to
they backdoored,
the doctor.
They backdoored her and you, knowing that she was represented at that point in time, and went straight to the doctor. And then, not uncommon, the doctor's like, oh, another letter from an insurance company, throw it in the garbage.
Not to mention, it was right in the midst of the pandemic when half of the doctors' offices were closed. It was right in the beginning, because I think it was, it was around the middle of 2020 that this was happening. So.
And it was one of those letters written, here's our opinions, and if we don't hear from you, we'll assume you agree with us.
Right.
Okay, so what was your strategy now in your third appeal?
So again, attacking it, this time doing an additional vocational review and analysis, which basically the original one that they did was invalid because they were using these physical restrictions and limitations that weren't really supported by anything that their doctor, this third-party neurologist, was saying. So attacking the vocational analysis they did, and within about a month or so after they received the appeal, they overturned it again. So 3 victories within the course of one claim.
Is there any more?
I would sincerely hope not, but
now at this point, you're in the any occupation definition of disability. It should be relatively, you know, less hurdles along the way. There's no more changes in definition. There's no mental nervous issue. That's out of the way. Cesar, how did they, after 3 times of cutting your client off, how did they never even ask to examine her?
That's a question that I asked myself. I didn't want to pose necessarily the question to them, because you bring that up to Hartford, they're going to say, well, certainly we'll send her to an examination. I find that insurance companies, particularly Hartford, if they're not going to do that, it's because they know that unless they hire somebody that is just really, you know, biased towards the insured, that they're going to find that there's physical impairments here. I mean, that are leading to these neuro-cognitive issues.
But this one is so sad because you have a woman who had significant medical issues with objective evidence. I mean, the swelling on the brain, the issues you talked about, that's obvious that that's there. It has long-term effects. The other medical conditions she had going on. But 3 times at 3 different intervals in the policy, they tried to come up with every excuse Hartford could find and basically tried to hope that she would just go away.
Right. They hit basically that trifecta of reasons for denial. They hit the proof of loss with the first one. They hit the 24-month mental nervous limitation with the second one. And then with the third one, in a way, they did the ENEOC denial, where they said, look, we find that there's physical restrictions, physical impairments, but we don't feel it's to such a degree she couldn't function or work in a sedentary light occupation.
Right, but to make this even worse, and luckily the outcome was fantastic. Each time they're like, they knock you down, but they're like, I'm going to come back, I'm going to win. But the Social Security disability approval first time, and Hartford, you know, is taking the money, right? They're offsetting the benefit, going, yeah, we understand the government thinks you're disabled from any occupation, and we'll take the money to offset your benefit, but we don't agree with you. What was Hartford's response to how do you disagree with Social Security?
They basically say that, they've reviewed it, they've considered it, they've weighed it, but they don't have to go by the decision, they don't have to pay it any deference, that they're going to conduct their own review, that they do it with a different set of records because she was approved on Social Security disability so early on in her claim. Usually Social Security disability doesn't update their review or their records for years down the road oftentimes, and if they ever do at all.
Right.
So they try to use that as their excuse. They don't have the updated records. They don't have the benefit of this, highly educated, highly credentialed neurologist that we hire that does thousands of these for insurance companies every year.
So I think this was a great victory, but one of the tips in this for claimants who are watching these videos to take away is you can't ever let your guard down. I mean, you had to do 3 separate appeals with this person on a person who had pretty strong medical evidence, and we're not letting our guard down now. I know you're continuing to monitor the claim, submitting information regularly, counseling the client as to continue with the treatment, and all the things we do in our monthly continued claim handling service to protect benefits. But this case is like a textbook example of the disability insurance companies, not just Hartford, while they're pretty bad, but any of them will continue to look for any excuse they can to deny the claim, and they just don't care.
Right.
I mean, just one doctor's opinion that they randomly hire who never sees the claimant nullifies years and years of extensive medical treatment and more than 50 to 60 visits that your client probably had.
Right. And an MRI, because they're always looking at these objective, objective proof of disability. You have an MRI with that shows fluid in her brain, and they still say, we think your neuro-cognitive problems are caused by depression.
Well, luckily, there's some hope that when you get to the right person at the company and you present the right case like you were able to do 3 times, that you can get the right outcome at the end of the day. So congratulations on that victory. I'm very happy for the client. If you're someone with a Hartford long-term disability claim, feel free to reach out to Cesar, myself, any of our lawyers. No matter where you live in the country, we'd love the opportunity to provide you with a free consultation, and we look forward to the opportunity to speak with you should you have any questions whatsoever. Hi, I'm Gregory Dell, the managing attorney of Dell Disability Lawyers, and I hope you find the video you just watched helpful. We put these videos out all of the time, and we'd love if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. Beyond our videos on our YouTube channel, we also have lots of information available on our website at diattorney.com, and we encourage you to come to our website. The goal is that we want you to be educated about the disability insurance process, and when you get to our website, you'll see that we have information all about your specific disability insurance company, your occupation, and your medical condition. And we've designed our website such that you can easily search our website to find things that you may specifically be looking for. Now, at our website, we have thousands and thousands of pages of information, hundreds of videos that you can search, plus we're building a section of reviews of all the disability insurance companies, and we have the Ask Our Lawyer section where you can go ahead and ask us any questions that you may have. Now, we realize that you may not need us right now, but you may need us in the future to help you with your disability claim, and we think one of the best ways to keep in touch is by clicking the button below and subscribing to our channel. And most importantly, again, no matter where you live in the country, we're always available. Just go ahead and give us a call. We're happy to discuss your claim and let you know immediately if we can help you.